So fine. So see, many times in these king and pawn endgames, this technique of interfering with the opposition king's path is very, very important. Okay, and that is where that shoulder charging concept comes into picture. And you know, geometrically, the geometry of the chessboard is that you have already seen it in that Reti study, right? See, sometimes you can, whether you can go when you move the king straight in line like this, or whether you come here and then go here, it takes the same amount of moves, right? You had seen it. See, from here you can go to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and or you can come. First move you can come here, second move you can come here, third move you can come here, fourth move you can come here, and then you can come here, and it is the same amount of the while geometrically the distance might be over, but in chess geometry the distance is the same, right? Right. So this, remember that chess study that we had done, Reti's game. There was a pawn, advanced pawn, and the white king was here, and somehow it was supposed to draw, and we had seen it. So from here we could see that it could come like this and either go like this, or whether you go, it is the same for the king. It takes the same amount of time, but maybe coming from here and here has got some advantage versus coming straight. Maybe in that Reti study, what the option was there, white had the option of going to either this side or this side by moving along. But if he had moved straight in this, then he would not have been able to go here. So he tried as much as possible in that study. The king tried to came along the diagonal and then went at the crux moment, he went here, or he could have gone here, right? That was the Reti study. But why does he come like this sometimes? Is that either to get more options or to interfere with the opponent's king? So that is when sometimes you have to think, and you have multiple path options and you choose a particular path to interfere with the thing. So that is what happens in this position. If you see, what is the position? White has got a pawn on a6 and black has got a pawn on a7. White king is trying to kill that pawn and after that promote the pawn, and black will try to defend it, right? So I will just put this on the position. Black king is on b2, white king is on f7. So let me put this. Clear board. Black pawn on e7, white pawn on e6. Or black king on b2 and white king on f7. Right? See now, and it is white to play. So if white goes just like this, right? Then what happens? Let us just see. White will kill this pawn, but what happens? Black will draw. How? Black will
to c7.
King to c7. He will put the white king in jail, will not allow him to escape, and he is going to then get the draw. Yeah, white king wins the pawn, but he cannot win the game. But that is because white follows this path here. But he knows that black is trying to come like this. Black is trying to come like this. So white says that I want to interfere with it. So he interferes by coming here. He's not going to. So black also plays this. See, now black cannot go here. So black has to go to b4. Right? So white will go to c7. Sorry, c6. So black king has to go to, where can it go?
King to a5.
King to a5 if you go, then white king will go to b7. And if you come here, he will take it. And if you come here, black king will go to b8 and, sorry, white king will go to b8 and win, because you cannot prevent the pawn, right? So at this point of time, see, white has successfully interfered with the black. Where can black go? He can go here or here, doesn't matter. at least he will try to come near the pawn, so he will go here. But white is going here, and now he has successfully interfered. Even if black comes here, this is still not enough, because black king comes here, white king goes to B. Right? So properly choosing how to reach the destination, there are multiple paths and you choose the right path. See, this is where it has shown in very clearly. White comes to white comes to E6, black comes to C3, white king comes to D5, black king is now forced to go to B4, then white king goes to C6, right? This is where we saw. Now you have successfully interfered for one move also, and that was enough to win, right? Otherwise it was a draw. So this is the concept of shoulder charging. You have to again remember in king and pawn endgames. Got it? Everyone got this?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Principle is important. Okay, principle is important. Then you can apply it at many places. This later on, this etc. Then you have to learn how to calculate and apply it. But principle is very important. See, even in this position here, see, there is a very important move. If white straight away pushes the H pawn, okay, then black king comes to G4. Okay. Now, even if you play H3 here, you give a check, doesn't matter. Black king goes to H4 and it's a draw. See, white king captures the pawn, black king is going to capture the advanced pawn. And white king has no other move. I mean, he cannot now no longer remain in contact with the H5 pawn. So he has to give up the H5 pawn. And the moment he gives up the H5 pawn, doesn't matter. Even if he picks up the B7 pawn, this game is a draw. So that is why H6 is H5 is a mistake. Even king G5 is also a mistake. Why? Because black king goes to G2. And then when you play H5, he does not pick up the pawn, he comes to H3. Then you go to G6, again he comes to G4, not H4. Now if you come to H4, then white will play H3 and put the condition on black to move. See, this is a zugzwang position and black will be now forced. Even if he captures the pawn, it is bad. If he captures the H3 pawn, then also white wins. But for this happens because at this point of time, if black plays king to H4, he does not play that. He plays king to G4. Okay. And then when white plays H3, then he has got still access to H4. See, the problem is that the moment white plays H3, G4 is no longer accessible. So earlier, if you had gone to H4, after H3, you cannot go to G4 because there is a pawn on H3. And if you capture it, then you are losing. But that is why at this point of time here, black king has to go to G4 and hold the draw. Right? So then if you go H3, then he just goes to H4 and this holds the draw. Okay, so this is the reason why at this point of time you have to be able to calculate and play king F5. Because the moment you play king to F5, now you are interfering with the black's position, right? King to G5 was allowing him to go to G2, but king to F5. Now if he goes to G2, now what do? You play H5 now. And if he comes to H3, then you play G5 now. You are not allowing him to come to H4. See, these are all tempos all is very important. Earlier, because you were already on G5, then black makes a move, you have to move and you have to escape. I mean, then you have to vacate the square for black to occupy H4 or G4. And that is what black was reeling. But because you moved to F5, you have a reserve tempi in your things. When black comes here, then you come here. And now, doesn't matter. If black captures, then this also is a win because he's winning. And if black does not capture, so at this point of time also it is important. If white king directly goes to G6, then it's a mistake because black king comes to G4 and it's a draw as we had seen earlier. Right? But white king comes to G5, interferes with black, and now it is going to be a loss. So this is a very, very interesting and important position. You learn this really well, deep, you learn it, because what do you call, once you fully grasp the intricacies of this position, a lot of things will become clear. Why and what, why some move is drawing and why the other move is winning. Okay. So this is in the section called shoulder charge. Okay. This is actually easier to understand. This is easier to understand because white has to kill the black pawn and then then support his pawn to become a queen. But black king is going to come and interfere, or black king is going to come and block the pawn right before that. So what does white do? See, white chooses this path. He wants to turn away the black king from reaching. So see, white king goes this way. And now black king is forced to come to c2. And then white king further comes to e3. He comes all the way here. Okay. So black king goes to d1, then he pushes the pawn. See how white has kept the black king away by intentionally moving to interfere. Now, no matter what black does, now white has got a solid advantage. See, he will still block it. At this point of time, now white feels that there is no need for blocking the black king anymore. So he will push the pawn. Now black king tries to come up. White king says, okay, now it is already too late. Now even then he makes a move like this and does not allow the black king to come to h3. So now he says, okay, now you come along. I don't worry. Well, now even though you are reaching now g5 and attacking g6, but I have already reached f7. So I will kill the g7 pawn and then I will still be controlling my pawn, right? So this is but this is easier to understand if you go to the beginning. It's easier to understand how white comes here and why does it move like this, and then even that white king moves to g4 is important, okay? Because it, for one crucial move, it does not allow the black from h2 to play to h3, but forces to play to g2, right? That gains one extra move. So that is that. And then we'll see one final example where this is called as a knight's opposition. Okay, so normally you know the direct opposition, right? The white king is standing like this. It is directly in opposition. But there is another type of opposition, okay, which sometimes you have to employ. Here, white to play, okay, he draws by playing king to h8, and this is called as knight's opposition because the square, they are standing like a knight apart, right? Knights move apart. So this is called as knight's opposition. Okay. And there is a very big difference between moving to h8 and f8. Just see, if the white king had moved to king to f8, then actually black wins. See, black king moves to f6, then white king moves to g8, then black king comes up, white king comes up, black king moves to d4, f6, c3, e5, b2, d4, and black captures the pawn. White is still on c3, not on c2. So because of which now the black king goes to b1. It is like a mirror image of the previous position where we had seen. And then now this black is going to win it, right? So this is what happens in the beginning if white king goes to f8. But if he goes to h8, now see a very crucial difference is there. So now again black starts coming, but now white has got one crucial move. He's still in the knight. Okay, it's still in the knight's position. So king to e5. Hey Anup, I think you got 1 hour late. I think, I don't know. Is there some your daylight saving time has changed or something, or what? I don't know. But we just finished the class. I mean, we are finishing the class. See, now black is moving to d4 and white king is not moving to f6 but f5. c3 and he's moving to e4. b2 and he's moving to not d4 but d3. And now when black king captures, white king is able to go to c2 and then block the black king and get a draw. Right? So this entire position that we saw here, this thing, right? This is called as the knight's opposition, and this is also an important concept in king and pawn endgames. You have to know where to use it. Especially, it's a defensive concept. It's not an attacking concept. Okay. All right. So Anup, I think you will have to catch up with the recording. But essentially, we started with the chess endings for beginners course. And 1, 2,
Okay.
4. Somebody else was there, na? Srushti, Ramnath, Ansh has not, Ansh has dropped off. Ansh was also there. And then there was Uday also. So 6 of you are likely to be there for L5 class. Okay. All right. So Srushti, Ramnath, I hope you got it. And Nandan,
Yes, sir.
right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Right. So please practice the practice part of these things, because what did we study? We studied the king and pawn. What is this? Practice may there is much lesser. Huh? Practice may I think there are very less puzzles are there. But whatever puzzles are there, you check that out. Okay, pawn endings. And those of you who have already done it, that's okay. But you can revise it. But remember this concept of what did we consider? Corresponding squares we studied and shoulder charge. Others we already knew. Next week we are going to look at breakthrough and extra space, etc. We are going to look. Okay. All right. So with that, I think I'm ending the class for this week. So
Bye, sir. Thank you.
So Srushti, I will tell you when to schedule the team tournament, but you will have to, you can take care for the L5 now. For the L4,
Okay, sir.
somebody else to do it. Okay.
Bye.
Yeah. Okay. Bye bye.
Bye bye, sir. Bye bye.